Hi, I'm Jill Barth, the HR Tech Editor at HR Executive Magazine, and we're here in Las Vegas at the 2023 HR Tech Conference. And today we have Sarah Tilley from ServiceNow. She's the Global Talent Acquisition and Development SVP, and she's taken some time to chat with us today. We're just going to have a quick conversation about a few questions that would be interesting to our readers. You've got such incredible experience, and I know our readers will be interested to understand how you've made headway and what's in the future. So will you tell us a little bit about the global workforce, the composition of what you've got on your team right now, and what you're kind of looking at coming into 2024?
Sure. So yes, we have about 21,000 employees globally. We're over 21,000 employees globally, across 34 different countries. We have 70 plus offices in APJ, EMEA, AMS, and it's a mix of flex workers, remote workers, in person, but mostly flex and remote. Yes, we are planning on growing in 2024. So we were at about 13,000 employees in 2020. So we're over 21,000 now, so it gives you a sense of some of the growth that we've been experiencing, which I think reflects our revenue growth. And we strongly believe that our business strategy is fueled by our talent strategy, so we'll continue to acquire the right talent for that business strategy. But it's not growth at all cost. So we've been very fortunate to be able to balance growth and profitability, which is why I think we were able to avoid any layoffs even with the market downturn in the last year. So we will be growing responsibly.
Yeah, that's really remarkable. In terms of challenges for the next year, it seems like you've got such a solid footing, but for those listeners and readers that are thinking, we've been through so much change, what do you think could be challenges of the next year? Kind of what can they predict?
Yeah, I think from a talent acquisition perspective, I think we're going to continue to experience a global skill shortage. I mean, everyone's talking about that. 80% of CEOs are still stating that they're concerned that they're not going to have the skills needed to drive their business agenda forward. So I think that's still going to, the market isn't as overheated as it was, but it's still a strong labor market. I think it went from being like ridiculously hard to compete for talent to just hard, really hard. So I think that it's going to be competition for talent. We're seeing less job hopping, so I think some of the significant raises that increases people were seeing with that has slowed down. So I do think that you're also seeing some real supply-demand issues with certain skill sets like AI, ML. So the supply-demand is quite acute there. So I think that that's going to continue to be a pretty big challenge. I mean, we personally believe, and we're well on this journey, that in order to expand the skills that are available in the world, because there's a global people shortage, a global talent shortage, but not a global people shortage, then you've got to have a skills intelligence strategy to unlock some of that talent.
And one of the big topics for everyone, and especially since we're here talking about HR tech, is generative AI and how that can lend itself. Do you find that being useful in the talent acquisition strategy that you have now, or is it something that you're still kind of hesitating to move into using that a little bit more?
Yeah, we're definitely we are committed. We're in it. So basically, we run our company on our platform. We're in a unique position, and a very fortunate position as a result of that. So I'll talk talent acquisition, but I'll also talk kind of the broader talent life cycle, I think. So we built our own skills intelligence platform on our own skills intelligence system and solution on our platform, and it's designed to help us address some of the not just the challenges, but the expectations of employees. I mean, basically, employees expect that they're going to have opportunities to learn and grow and develop, and organizations need for their talent to evolve and learn and grow and develop. So for us, this skills intelligence solution built on our platform is underpinned by AI. So it's really all about how do you break everything down into a set of skills, and then you use AI to match individuals to opportunities, even to mentors, to learnings, experiences, etc. And I think that that's going to be a game changer for us. I mean, we're smack dab in the middle of that right now, so we're learning a tremendous amount because we're using the product for our own employees. So the talent development, it is going to use AI to help match opportunities, as I mentioned, all those things and we're spending a lot of time on that. Q1 of next year is really when we're going to start to get into the talent acquisition, the external aspect of this, because that's, I think, a big opportunity, again, for how do you take that same approach and apply it to candidates and the inventory of skills that they bring to the table. And then I think, we're looking at Gen AI for the obvious places, job descriptions, resume summaries, but also for our market intel and sourcing. We use a lot of data to inform how we're recruiting and sourcing globally. And so Gen AI is going to help us frame all of that up in a much simpler way. So we are pursuing it on both sides of the fence.
You mentioned this a bit previously, that there's perhaps a skills shortage around large language models and AI. Do you sense that within HR and within leadership that is kind of adjacent to HR, we're going to see more like maybe chief AI officers, things like a new crop of titles rolling out of this in terms of filling a need for talent?
Yeah, I think that's an interesting question. A chief AI role, that could be useful if you are trying to think about how do you infuse AI into every aspect of your strategy. We're a tech company, and we're also very fortunate AI is in the fabric of everything that we do, but if that's not the case and you need to manufacture that, then you can see how a role like that is going to make, it could be valuable. But I think, anything to do with tech, it's like I think 2.5 years is the half-life of tech skills, so it's going to constantly evolve. There's going to be constantly new work.
Kind of taking away from just using tech, we have a lot of folks here today and over the week that are growing in their career, and talent acquisition in specific, or HR in general. And do you have any advice for people at any stage of their career for making the most out of the growth and making the most out of these new opportunities that are presented at the moment?
I think that I love that you said at any stage of your career, because I do think as you can get lulled into thinking, I don't need to learn as intensely as I did, earlier in my career. But I think if you constantly have a growth and learning mindset, then it's going to benefit you at every stage. I mean, we have things that we are, we believe apply universally, like to all of our employees. Like everyone's going to benefit from how they increase their emotional intelligence, right? Everyone's going to benefit from how they learn more about emerging tech. But then I think there are some things that are more specific. If you're early in your career, or an individual contributor, or you're an aspiring manager or an experienced manager, we've sort of set up a learning strategy that's by persona. But I think it's just, don't make it don't deprioritize as you elevate is probably the best advice that I could give. And I remember reading something once years ago about how, when we're younger, our learning curve is this, right? And then as we get older, it starts to plateau. And one of the ways to accelerate learning is to ensure that you're seeking input and feedback from others, because that at some point, your blind spots become really difficult to see. So that's another sort of piece of advice that comes to mind.
That's great, thank you. So I think that was our last question for Sarah Tilley from ServiceNow. We're so happy to have you here with us today and this week at HR Tech Conference.
Wow, what a pleasure, truly.